Okay. So now basically we are going to start today. Who is absent? Okay, Kushi is absent today, and Seth is here. Aditya is also absent. Other side. So basically, industrial sector during the colonial rule. Of course, we are done with one part, like the agriculture sector. Now we'll be doing the industrial sector. Okay. So what was happening? Like, what was the condition? The rule of British India government led to the collapse of India's world famous handicraft industry. As I told you earlier, we used to do handicraft production and all that. So we had lots of industries related to handicraft. But Britishers never motivated us to promote it, because if we are very good in handicraft, then if we'll sell handicraft, then people will know us, that people will appreciate us, and somewhere our trade will be increased. That's why Britishers never promoted the handicraft product of India without contributing in a significant manner to its replacement to modern industry base. Now what handicraft is basically, where people were engaged in making patterns, making all that thing. So what Britishers did, that Britishers never promoted this, and even they forced them to move to some other field. They forced them to move to some modern industrial base. So that's why British India led to the collapse of, see, for example, you people are very good in economics, right? I'm a science student, so teacher. So I am not encouraging you that, okay, Heba, you're doing good. I'm not appreciating you for your work. And side by side, I'm giving you assignments of science subjects. So what you will do? You don't have any appreciation in this handicraft field, so in this economics field, so you will somewhere leave that and you will join the science batch, right? So similarly, this was happening in and Britishers never promoted it, never supported it, and somewhere they forced them to shift to some modern industrial base. Okay, this was the condition. And now effect of decline of countries. Now what is happening basically, India was very good in handicraft and all that. So somewhere it collapsed because Britishers never forced. So what happened? Once the industries related to handicraft collapsed, then what happened? It create massive unemployment in India. Why? Because most of the population, either it was engaged in agriculture or in the handicraft industry. So now everyone closed their shops, everyone closed their industry. So the people who were working there, now they are unemployed. Right. So first thing happened, that it created massive unemployment in India. And second, it also created a new demand in Indian consumer market, the increasing import of cheap manufactured goods from Britain. Now, this was the motive of Britishers. Now, see, for example, this is a handmade product. This is for 100 rupees. Okay. And similarly, this is a ready-made product. Okay, this is for 50 rupees. You will choose which one? This one. Why? Because this is cheaper. And right now the condition of people was not so good. They were not economically well that they'll go for the handmade and all that. So what Britishers was doing? Britishers was bringing product from their own country, like the ready-made artificial one, and they were selling in India. So what people were attracted towards this because it was cheaper, right? So what happened? Somewhere, for example, earlier people were only using handicraft product. Okay, handmade product, handmade clothes, everything. But now if they are getting something really cheaper, why they will go to this? They will switch to this. And the person who is selling this handicraft, what he will do? He will somewhere close his shop because he has no option, right? So this was happened. So when once the this handicraft industries got declined, so first it created unemployment, plus in India it created new demand. Earlier everyone was using handicraft product, but now because there was no handicraft shops, now people started demanding consumer market, like the increasing import of cheap manufactured good from Britain. So now new demand started. Earlier no one was aware of that cheap product, no one was aware of the consumer market, everyone was dependent on this handicraft things, handmade products. But now suddenly a new demand start increasing because they don't have any option, there is no handicraft shop. So from where they'll get? And somewhere the cheap prices were attracting them, that okay, if you can get the same shirt for 50 rupees, why will you give 100 rupees? You just have to wear that shirt now. So that's why these two things happen over there. Okay, clear?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So first you will write this. What was the effect of decline or just you can simply write like hashtag effect of decline of country's world famous indigenous handicraft industry. These two effects was
Done, ma'am.
okay. I'll just wait for 1 more minute. 10 minutes. Okay, I hope everyone is done. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, what was the thing? First thing is that Britishers first they just collapsed the handicraft industry, but somewhere they were doing the systematic deindustrialization. Okay, deindustrialization is basically, for example, if I am promoting industries, that means I am doing industrialization. Okay, but if I am not promoting industrialization, then that is known as deindustrialization. If for example I have one industry in my country, if I'll motivate the people to grow one more industry, so that is industrialization. But if for example I have one industry, I am not promoting anything, this is the only industry in my country, I'm not promoting it, this is deindustrialization. Or even the industry which is growing, I am not contributing anything, and somewhere the growth is stagnant. That is deindustrialization. Opposite of industrialization is deindustrialization. So why Britishers was doing deindustrialization in India? So basically they had two motive behind that. So the twofold motive behind the systematic deindustrialization effected by the British. First, the intention was to reduce India to the status of a mere exporter of important raw material for the upcoming modern industry in India. So first motive why they were doing deindustrialization, because they wanted India to become the exporter of important raw material for the upcoming modern industry in India. Sorry, Britain. In Britain, there were lots of industries, right? So they wanted India to become the exporter of raw material for their industries, for the Britain industries. Okay. Second, to turn India into sprawling market for the finished product of those industries, so that their continued expansion could be ensured to the maximum advantage of their home country. Second, they wanted India to, sprawling market is, for example, I am the one. Okay, I don't have any, for example, I'm the one, I'm producing, I don't have any problem. I'll be eating it, I'll be doing it, everything. But for, right now, I cannot produce anything. So what I will be doing, I'll be depending on some other person for that someone will produce it and someone will give me. So right now, I don't have any technology. Similarly, the situation was with India, that India didn't have any technology, didn't have any industry. So it was totally dependent on Britishers. No matter what the price they will charge, no matter what the quality they will serve, I will purchase it because I don't have any alternative option. So this was the process for this was the reason for deindustrialization. Why? Because if there will be no industry, then India will become the exporter. Second, and there will be no industry in India where they can produce the clothes, produce the product. So what they will do? They will only purchase it from Britishers. Right. So that's why these two, there was a twofold motive. First, to make India the exporter, and second, to make India the importer of finished goods, so that like, see, if I purchase a product of Britishers, then I will be somewhere, Britishers will get benefit. Right. So these were the twofold motives. So next you will be writing twofold motive behind the systematic deindustrialization effected by Britishers. So these were the two motives. Okay. Students getting it?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, ma'am.
Others? Yeah.
Done,
Done,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Everyone done?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, basically, see, there was something industries and there is something modern industry. Industries is basically the one which was established before the advent of Britishers. But now modern industries are something according to the need. Okay. So how was the modern industrial sector? See, old industrial sector, basically we had only handicraft industry and somewhere it collapsed. But talking about the modern industrial sector, how it looked like during the second half of 19th century. Okay. So the modern industry began to take root in India during the second half of 19th century. So from the direct question will be from which era or from which century modern industry started taking place in India. So basically from like during the second half of the 19th century. Okay, so initially this development was confirmed to the setting up of cotton and jute textile mills. So earlier it was confirmed that we will be setting new cotton industries and new jute textile industries. Okay, the cotton textile mills mainly dominated by Indians were located in the western part of country, namely Maharashtra and Gujarat. While just a minute, huh? Okay, so sorry. Yeah, so basically so initially this development was confirmed to the setting of the cotton and textile, that we will be setting cotton and jute textile mills. Then basically this was dominated by Indians, right? The natural fibers, they were dominated by Indians because in India it is taking place, so that's why it was dominated by Indians. And it where these industries was located, from here only you will get 2 or 3 questions. Okay, so where this was located, basically in the western part like Maharashtra and Gujarat, while the jute dominated by, just getting it, see, cotton textile was dominated by Indians, but jute mills or the jute textile mills were dominated by the foreigners, and they were basically in Bengal, and in this the cotton was basically in Maharashtra and Gujarat. Clear?
Yes, teacher.
Right? So
Yes,
modern
ma'am.
industries started from establishment of 2 industries, cotton and jute textile. Cotton was dominated by Indians and it was basically in western part like Maharashtra and Gujarat, and the jute was dominated by foreigners like the others, and that was basically in the eastern part like the Bengal. Okay, and subsequently first cotton and and all the textile was introduced, and after that iron and steel industries begin coming up in beginning of 20th century. The Tisco, Tata Iron and Steel Industry, was incorporated in 1907. Sometimes you get the direct question when Tisco was established, right? So you have to remember the date. Okay, so you have to remember that Tisco, the full form of Tisco, Tata Iron and Steel Industry, it was done. You just have to run the first cotton and jute industries, then after that Tisco, like the iron and steel plant was established. Okay, and then few other industries in the field of sugar, cement, paper, etc. came up after the end of Second World War. Okay, so in half of the 19th century, these 2 industries, then in beginning of 20th century, this, and after the Second World War, these few more industries in the field of sugar, cement, paper, etc. that came up. Clear, everyone?
Yes, teacher. Clear.
So this was the state. Like basically we had modern industries in the field of cotton and jute textile, then in the field of iron and steel industry, and some other in the field of sugar, cement, paper, etc. Okay. So basically you'll be writing hashtag modern industrial sector during the second half of the 19th century and these points. Okay. From here you will be getting one word questions like like you can the question can be like cotton industries was dominated by Indians or Britishers, or the parts where they were dominated, or you can get the full form of Tesco, when Tesco was established, and what were the other industries. Over here it will be written like for raw material and all that you have to mention sugar, cement, paper. Okay, clear everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, teacher.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so write it down.
Done, ma'am.
What about others?
Done, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. I'll just wait for one more minute. Then we'll skip to new. Okay. I think everyone is done. Now, basically, we are going to do the next thing. See, whatever industrial policies Britishers made, right? There were some shortfalls. Shortfall in the sense, of course, they were not good enough. That's why there was nothing. Okay, so shortfalls of industrial policies pursued by British colonial administration. So first shortfall was slow progress. There was slow progress in the modern industry. See, as we saw that there are lots of modern industries like the textile and all that, Tesco and all that, but still, like after even after the modern industries, there was no growth in industrial sector. So first, slow progress. Then modern industry itself, the progress was very slow. Second, lack of capital goods. So first, what is capital good? Okay, so capital good industries means industries which can produce machine tools which are in turn used for producing articles for the current consumption. See, the product which help in production of further products, they are known as capital goods. Okay, we'll be doing this all types of good. I think I have even explained you people in national income chapter again, so don't worry. Just remember that capital goods are those goods which help in production of other good. For example, I have a screwdriver or I have an X. So X I'm using to cut down the wood or something like that. I have the screwdriver or I have the printing machine. So all that things comes under capital good. And capital good industries are those industries which can produce machine tools which are in turn used for producing articles for current consumption. Okay. So basically, there was lack of capital goods. See, if you don't have any product that will help in further production, for example, you want to make a cake, but you don't have the product like the oven, microwave, and all that product you don't have. How will you produce cake? Will you do that? Right? So there was lack of capital good industry. There was very few industries which were producing these type of good that help in production of other goods. So that's why, because of that, there was no improvement or no growth in industrial sector. Next, no substitute to the country traditional handicraft industry. See, you people know, for example, you people are economic student. You are very good in that. Maybe if I'll introduce some new subject, I will introduce new subject to you which will be similar to economics, because I know you people are good in economics, right? But Britisher knew that Indians are very good in handicraft, but still no substitute. Substitute is basically in place of that. Of course, our handicraft industries collapsed, but they should at least, introduce few industries related to handicraft or somewhere similar to handicraft, because Indians were good in that. But no substitutes to the country traditional handicraft industry. The establishment of few manufacturing units was no substitute to the near wholesale displacement of countries' traditional handicraft. So there were one or two industries, but see, I guess 50 or 60% of the population were dependent on handicraft. Now you are only providing one industry. So that was not enough. So that's why also there was no growth in industrial sector. Next is low growth rate. The GDP, which was like the amount which industries were earning, that was very low. So it always remained low. The growth rate of new industrial sector and their contribution to GDP. See, if I'm producing something, I will contribute it, right? But if I'm not producing anything, how will I contribute? So low growth rate. Growth rate was rate, and because of that, GDP, the contribution to GDP from industrial sector was very small. And limited area of operation of the public sector. Another significant drawback of the new industrial sector was limited area of operation of public sector. This sector remained confined only to railways, power generation, communication, ports, and some other department. So government was only controlling few sectors. Others was totally under private. So that was Britishers was handling. So that's why limit, because of, see, what is the main motive of government? Government wants to do social welfare. Government want to promote things. But there were only few section which was given to public sector, others was under private sector. So that's why there was no growth, because private sector, they were doing things for their profit, they were not doing things for the development of the country. So that's why industries always remain back. So these are the shortfalls. Whatever industrial policies Britishers made, these were the shortfalls. Slow progress, lack of capital good industries, no substitutes to the country's traditional handicraft industries, low growth rate, and because of low growth rate, GDP, the contribution to GDP was also low, and limited area of operation of the public sector. Clear?
Yes, teacher.
Others?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So write it down. Just write hashtag shortfalls of industrial policies pursued by British colonial administration, and then the students who will be completing, they can leave. Okay.
Done, ma'am.
Okay, you can leave, Amos. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Ma'am, will you be giving an assignment today?
Sorry.
Will you give an assignment today?
Yeah, I'll just share the assignment today. I just do share the assignment with like after every class I do share. Okay, just keep checking your
Okay.
portal. Yeah, and try to cope up if you are left with any assignment. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Done, ma'am.
Okay, if you are done, you can leave.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Done, ma'am.
Okay, you can leave.
Thank you, ma'am.
You bye bye.
Done, ma'am.
Okay, you can leave.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Steph, you are done.